Hello, hello, and welcome. Welcome to yours and mine Cozy Corner. My name is Amanda, and on this channel, we talk about books, and more books. Hello, friends. Hope all is well. I get on in here because I want to go over something with you guys real quick. So, I have decided to take on a second reading challenge. So, the girl goes from doing absolutely no reading challenges at all to now she's going to do two. So the first one that I'm going to do is called the Jellyfish reading challenge. And I did make a video about that. I will put the link to that below. That way you guys can check it out and see if maybe that's something you will be interested in doing as well. Now with that reading challenge, basically it has 15 prompts, and for each prompt that you fulfill, you get a certain amount of points with it. And you learn about different jellyfish, which I think is really cool. And it's a very easy challenge to complete. Like I said, I think it's 15 prompts. And of course, there's just one per month, but you'll have to, double up or however you wish to do it to complete the 15. But anyway, I have the link to that below. The second challenge that I have decided to take on is called, and you guys know I have my notes, it's called the Anti-Brain Rot Challenge by At This Story Ain't Over. So I started looking for a different challenge because I was like, okay, well, this one, I think it will be easy. I can complete that. So I said, I think, I can take on another one. And I found different challenges, but some of them to me was just a little out of control. And like some of them I felt had like 3,000 prompts that you had to fulfill for no real reason whatsoever. So lo and behold, I was so glad that I found this one because I feel like this is a reading challenge that actually makes sense and it's purposeful. So this one, and I'm going to link her information below so that you guys can watch her video and let her explain in detail as to how the challenge works. But there are 9 rules to this challenge. So the first rule number 1 is to read for at least one 45-minute session per day where you annotate what you read. Now, she has created an advanced mode and a basic mode. What I'm doing is just, I guess the original one. But I think like so many people kind of asking her, hey, can you give us like a different mode? So I believe, and don't quote me for this, go watch her video. But I believe like if you do the basic mode, then it's only 15 minutes per session. And advanced mode, of course, that's something else. Like I said, I won't go into too many details, just the basic part here so that this video won't be long. And plus, she can explain it way better than I can. But anyway, rule number 1, read at least one 45-minute session per day where you annotate what you read. Now, rule number 2 says to read at least one article, essay per month on any topic that interests you. Now, this one will be new for me because I generally do not read articles or essay unless there's something that's work related. So I probably still will do the ones that's work related, but I probably would try to look to do something different or choose something different because I think this whole challenge here is making. I think it's going to make me challenge myself to step out of my norm, which I really like. Rule number 3, read at least one book by a BIPOC author for every book you read by a white author. Now, when I choose books, I don't necessarily choose books based upon, if the author is white, black, whatever. I just choose the book based upon, okay, do I think this is going to be an interesting book? However, I've never actually like compared the numbers to see where that falls. So I might if I have time, I might go back and kind of compare. I think my numbers actually may turn out to be maybe not equal, but I think they may be close. But I want to just check on that because now I'm just curious to know what the answer to that is. Now, rule number 4 is to read at least one book from the following 10 genres. And again, she has a basic mode, and I believe like that number is cut down to 5. But again, don't hold me to that. So I'm going to go over the books that I'm going to read for the 10 different genres. I'm just going to name the book because I'll put, a copy of the book here. So if you want to know like who the author is and all that stuff, because I don't want to make the video extremely long. So for literary fiction, I'm going to read The Third Life of Grange Copeland, historical fiction, Sula, fantasy, The Scorpion and the Night Blossom, science fiction, Those Beyond the Wall, and that's book number 2. And this is actually a book that I got from the Goodwill. So I'm going to have to read book number 1 first, but that book will be in one of those Goodwill book hauls. Okay, horror. I'm going to read The Between. Romance. I'm going to read Fearless, Goodwill book. Classics. Never Let Me Go. History, politics. I'm going to read If the Allies Had Fallen. Science. It's going to be The Ice Pick Surgeon. And memoir is going to be the narrative of the life of Frederick Douglass. And I don't think I mentioned this, but one of the things that I want to do is read books that I actually have on my shelves back here, because as I've stated many times before, I usually only buy books that I have actually read. So I've already gotten the book from the library. I read it on my Kobo or, whatever. I already read it and I know that I want it. And so now I go, buy it and put it on, buy the hard copy, a physical copy, and put it on the shelf. But as a book lover, y'all know there's nowhere we can go in a bookstore or any place with books and not just pick up some books. So I want to say that, I may have picked up a little bit more books than I intended to. That's a lie. I picked up every book that I wanted. I picked up every book that I wanted to because I love books. But I don't have a lot of room. I absolutely have a very small space for books, so I just cannot collect all the books that I really want to. I just can't. So I'm making a point that for the Jellyfish challenge, for this challenge, for my other prompt that I use for my reading journal is to first try to get the books that I actually have the physical books of. And then that way did I say that right? I don't know. But I want to make certain that I read my physical book first, is what I was trying to say. Okay, moving on. Rule number 5. Read at least one book from each of the following 4 formats. Now, the first format is a translated book. I'm going to read Snow Globe. Now, that's an easy one. I have read plenty of translated books, so that part wasn't an issue for me. But now, these other 3 formats, I have to say, was a bit of a challenge as far as trying to find something that I have. So, a graphic novel. I have only read one graphic novel, and that was by Octavia Butler. So, I was like, oh, I don't really know what to choose. So, anyway, I chose a book called Monster. I may change this later, but as of now, that's what I'm going to go with. The next format is a play. I know absolutely nothing about plays. Like I was pulling at straws. So I ended up choosing Oedipus. Guys, if you guys are into plays, tell me if I chose something that was good. I hope it's not something that's too difficult. I'm not going to lie. I was trying to find something that was a little bit short as well. So that's what I went with. But I don't know anything about plays. So if that's one that I probably shouldn't, go with or start with, please let me know in the comments. Now, the next one is an anthology or short story collection. I chose Scary Story Treasury because that is one of the books that I got from the Goodwill. Now, rule number 6, read from at least one book from each of the following 9 categories. And again, if this challenge sounds difficult, it is a little bit, but I feel that it's doable. And she also have 2 different modes, basic mode and advanced mode. So actually, if it doesn't sound difficult to you and you want more of a challenge, then you still can do it and just do it in her advanced mode. And something I forgot to mention, she has in here that, we can. Let's see. Okay, yeah. You can fulfill multiple requirements with the same book. So you do not have to have a different book for each of these challenges, prompts, or whatever. I'm personally trying to choose different books because I want to get through the books that I have back here. Because, of course, if it's a book that I don't plan to read again, then those are books that I'm going to give away. So that makes space for new books. So I definitely am going to choose a different book for each of these prompts. And like I said, for the other 2, just different books. I do not plan to use the same books. Okay, so I'm sorry, guys. Let me go back. Rule 6, read from at least one book from each of the following 9 categories. So the first one is a book with a queer LGBTQIAP plus main character. So I've chosen Marigold and Murder. Now, I don't know that the main character necessarily is going to meet this requirement, but I know that that is involved in the book. If I read it and the main character is not part of this group, then I will just choose another book. All right, the next one is a book with disability represented. And so I'm going to choose Hoppin'. And again, I'm going to put a copy of the books up here for you guys. Now, this one says a book by an author not in North America. I don't know if that person has to be alive. I just know she specifically said that they cannot live in North America. So I picked the book Demand. I might be pronouncing that wrong. Y'all check it out. But the author is no longer alive, but he lived in Switzerland. So that definitely counts, I think. The next one is a book by a Black author who is alive. So I picked The Sweetness of Water. The next one is a book by an Indigenous or Native American or Australian Aboriginal. And I chose The Whistler. The next one, a book by a Swana author. I chose Against the Loveless World. The next one is a book by a Latinx, and I chose We Set the Dark on Fire. Now, the next 2, I'm not going to lie, this in itself was a challenge for me to find a book that meets this requirement. So the first one is a book by an East Asian or Southeast Asian author who is not Chinese, Japanese, or Korean. Every time I tried to find a book that met that requirement, I promise you all the authors seemed to be Chinese, Japanese, or Korean. And then it went from, finding uh, a book that fits the requirement. And then within that, finding a book that actually sounds interesting to me. And then from there, trying to find a book that actually is something that I have available at the library. It in itself was a challenge. And I think that's part of the reason that, she specifically has this type of requirements to show people that, hey, yeah, it's a challenge when you're trying to find books by author that is not in this demographic here. But anyway, the book that I'm going to choose for that one is The Fisherman King. The next one is a book by a South Asian author who is not Indian. Okay, and it does not include Southeast Asian. So I picked for that one My Sweet Girl. Now, rule number 7 says create your own critical media journal, and you have to write down notes or reviews on each book you read, movie, show, a movie or show you watched, and each article essay you read. Now, you guys know I'm always referring to my notes, so that part won't be, anything that's difficult for me because I take notes on each book that I read anyway. Now, the article and essay, that would be something new to take notes on that, but again, I don't think that's going to be a problem. Rule number 8, create your own personal curriculum for the year or for each semester of the year. Okay, this will be the first time that I've actually created a curriculum. Um, I have I think like when you have like personal goals, like you're trying to meet, you kind of do it in a sense. It's just maybe you never thought about it as a curriculum. And as I tried to look up like, videos and information on how to do it, it's way more detailed than, what I have done in the past. So I'm actually really looking forward to creating that. And the last, rule number 9, do a buddy read or join a book club and discuss at least one book with other people. So I am actually quite the introvert, okay? So one of the book clubs that I participate in is the silent book club, but that is not going to meet this requirement here. So I'm going to have to do something differently. Hopefully, I can do a buddy read. That would be good. Now, speaking of buddy read, I told you guys in my Jellyfish Challenge video that I wasn't going to create a just a storygraph account, just to complete one challenge. However, this right here, this challenge also requires participation, or where you list your books and stuff at is on Storygraph. So at this point I was like, well, I might as well go ahead and create a Storygraph account. I just didn't want to because I have the way that I track my books already, and then I didn't want to necessarily take the time to go in and put all the books in from this year. But I did it, so I did create that account, and I will link that I will put the link to that in this video as well. So, if any of you guys are maybe interested in doing a buddy read with me, let me know, because I don't know how to do it. I will have to, kind of look it up, but there's some way that you set that up on Storygraph where you can actually do a buddy read with someone. And it seems like it's a really cool, way that you can do that. So if you're interested in doing that, please let me know. Okay. Okay, guys. So that's all. Hopefully, I didn't keep you too long, but that is all the information that I have for the anti-brain rot challenge. Again, this is by At This Story Ain't Over. Please go check out her channel. I have the link below. Please check it out. If you're interested in doing this challenge, let me know, because I would be interested to see how many people want to participate. Because as of now, she has a total of 3,486 people partaking in this. So this right here, I think, is just going to be a really good challenge that a lot of people are going to enjoy. Okay, guys, so that's the end of the video. I thank you all so very much for sticking around with me. Hopefully you have found something in this video that is of interest. If you would, please hit that subscribe and like button. That really would mean a lot to me. And until next time, I will see you guys later. Bye.